I'm excited to talk about this Ahsoka episode. So let's jump into that.
Wait.
I'll ask you first. We'll give it a ranking, and then we'll go into spoilers. I think I have an idea of what you're going to rank this, but go ahead and give us your initial ranking of episode 5.
Okay. Initial ranking of episode 5, I would give, on a scale of 1 to 10, on our scale, 5's average, I would give this one a 9, like the last one.
Really? I think I'm actually going to give it a 10. I really like this episode.
Ooh. Okay.
I thought it was really good. And we'll get into more why. But I think this is the first time we've had a slightly different score on the episodes.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I think all the other ones we agreed on them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Now I want to dig into your thoughts.
Okay. So just fair warning, we're going to be getting into spoilers now for the episode. So click off if you have not watched it yet, and go watch it, and then come back. Okay. So I love this episode. I gave it a 10 because of a few things. I think this is Hayden Christensen's best acting and like role as Anakin. I feel like he mixed in the Clone Wars Anakin super well, brought the Vader parts, brought some of his old, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin into it, and just seeing that all come together and seeing him finally have like a really good role as Anakin, because episode 2 and 3, it may not have been his fault, but they weren't the best like acting wise. So it was really cool to see that. I thought the live action parts of like seeing the Clone Wars in live action and seeing how actually young Ahsoka was like really cool, and it really drove home like the trauma that she has been dealing with and the lesson that she learned from this. And I don't know, the lightsaber fight, I thought it was all like a perfect episode. It was kind of what I was expecting, but I
any negatives?
I tried to write down some negatives while I rewatched it, and I didn't really have. I mean, the only thing, if I'm being super nitpicky, is I could have had a whole episode on just the world between worlds, like flashbacks and stuff. But like, that's just because I want more of it. So I'm curious why you gave it a 9, which is, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, so
I'm just curious.
I still like an amazing episode.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if I'm just talking about like you said, that Hayden and the flashbacks of Clone Wars, I mean, man, it's hard not to give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
they were perfect. I love the style. It had the atmosphere. It was gritty. Just them running, just them running. The younger Ahsoka and Anakin, and the battle, and seeing it like in live action, because that's what we never saw in the prequel.
Yeah. Yep.
So I loved all that, and that scene, where he's walking in distance and it switches between him and Vader.
That was so cool.
Yeah, that shot was
just
amazing.
The flash of Vader, and then it goes back. Yeah, that was so cool.
And then later on in the episode, they did something similar when they're, when he's fighting Ahsoka, older Ahsoka.
Yep, when they go back to the world between worlds.
Yeah. So I love all of that. I think Hayden did a great job too. I think he felt like the cartoon Anakin, but he felt like both, like a mixture of both.
Yeah.
It was he was great. I mean, I was pleasantly. I mean, I knew he'd do okay, because let's be honest, I don't think it was his fault in the prequels. I think it was the writing.
Yeah, I agree.
But man, I got all giddy hearing him kind of talk like he does in the show to younger Ahsoka. And I don't know what it is, but seeing Ahsoka young in live action feels different than cartoon.
Yeah, for sure.
As in, like, you don't realize that she's a kid.
I know, you definitely drove home. Oh, she's a kid in this war that she's leading. Like, yeah.
So like all of that excellent stuff. I love it. I guess the only reason I didn't give it a 10 out of 10 is I personally, and I loved it, but I felt like the scene with the whale the base wells dragged on a little long. Like it was like 10, 15 minutes of them getting to the well. And
I could see that.
So like the last 15 minutes were like a little, but I mean, I still loved it because, I saw Rebels. I liked the idea of the whales and her going into, like, I liked it all. It just kind of felt a little long.
Gotcha.
But so I'll say this: the last episode, it's just so hard because if we're talking just the Clone Wars stuff, man, I love this episode more than anything else.
Yeah.
If I'm talking about like pacing and everything, just that last episode, like there wasn't a beat where I felt like I'm like, oh, this is dragging, or this is this. Like lightsaber fights, the atmosphere, everything about the last episode from start to finish was perfect. And this one, the Clone Wars stuff was perfect, and I even liked the Hera stuff and the Jason stuff.
Yeah.
I liked all stuff. It was just the last 10, 15 minutes that kind of slowed down.
It definitely did slow down. I think I didn't have an issue with it because I felt like it did a really good job showing that Ahsoka had changed in just like little things. How she was smiling more, how she was like making the joke about like, oh yeah, I have no idea if it'll bring us where we need to go to Huyang.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a little bit of an older, old version of Ahsoka. Like she got a little back.
It kind of feels like she's more at peace, and that slowdown kind of mirrors that of like, yeah, she's just kind of going with the Force, talking to the Purgle and being like, hey, take us and like, we'll figure it out. And I don't know, it just seemed to me to kind of fit. But it was definitely slower. Yeah, I could see why some people might not like that. So
it's not like bad. Like I liked it. I did like it.
Yeah.
Just I don't know.
But yeah, compared to the pacing of the last one was like boom, 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 all like full on like.
Yeah, and even in the slow moments, I mean, there was good dialogue and
yeah.
But again, if I'm talking just the Clone Wars stuff, God, you can't as a Clone Wars fan and even a Rebels fan or a Star Wars fan in general, like you can't deny seeing Hayden with Ahsoka in live action was
so
just
cool.
I could argue I would give it a 10 out of 10 just for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last thing really is I feel like if I were to clump last week's episode and this week's episode in a 1, it would be a 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh yeah, that's like getting close to a really good movie. Like
because I feel like the last one and this one kind of like are a 1. It could be like a little mini.
It definitely did. So
if I were to clump them together, it could easily be a 10 out of 10, like clumped together. I mean, you can't get better Star Wars than that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my initial thoughts. But man, those Clone Wars scenes, man, I was hoping we'd get a glimpse of Maul. But
I know with the siege of Mandalore, I was kind of expecting it. We did see Rex though, which that was really cool. I love Rex.
Yeah, maybe having Maul there would take too much focus off.
Yeah,
that could be. Anakin and
that wasn't really the reason why she was there.
Yeah,
so makes sense.
So maybe that's too fanboy to have that.
Yeah.
But I did like the whole. I did like the stuff with Jason and Hera. I thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found that very interesting.
One thing I liked about that is they didn't fall into the trope of just like dismissing him over and over, and he's like, no, there's something there, and like, Jason, go wait in the ship. Like I was kind of expecting that, but
they were gonna do that.
Yeah, but as soon as Jason was like, hey Mom, this is serious, she was like, oh, what is it? And took him serious, and even then like when Teva comes up and they're like, and Hera's like, we're going to go look out there. And then Huyang explains, oh, Jason has abilities. Teva's like, okay, let's go look. That explains it, yep.
that was funny. I liked that too.
Yeah.
But you're right, because they could have easily done that trope, right? The whole episode, Mom, I promise, I hear lightsabers.
Yeah.
No, you're like, I don't believe yada, yada, yada. But Hera, I did really like that.
Yeah, that was good.
So how do you think like Hera could hear it?
I think there was, I'd have to go back and I think there's been like hints that she's a little Force sensitive before, but I can't remember. And I think that's kind of how.
I guess you could kind of argue too that you never know what the world between worlds,
Yeah, true.
I mean, who says you have to be force sensitive to be in the world between worlds? They've never really said that.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know a lot about the world between worlds.
Yeah. Maybe that's just where all people go when they die, not just force sensitive people.
Yeah. Because everybody has some connection to the force. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, like, strong force.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone has midichlorians?
We don't talk about that. I'm glad they're going away from that.
I like the more religious side, like, version of it, and not the science side. Like, I felt like that was too sciencey.
Yeah, like quantifying the amount of force is a little weird.
Yeah, I like the more spiritual kind of.
Yep.
But yeah, so 9 out. So the first one we kind of
split a bit,
kind of different. Mm-hmm. Granted, it's still 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
But man, I can't wait for this week. But I am bracing myself to be a little disappointed after like 2 of great episodes like this.
Yeah, that's possible. But we are gonna see, like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Thrawn. Might see Ezra. We'll definitely see the other galaxy as long as it like focuses on Ahsoka. So
I would say, you don't think they could just like do a whole episode of Hera back there?
That would be disappointing because I'm so excited to see the other galaxy and Thrawn.
I hope not, man. Like, Hera talking to New Republic and all that crap, and I hope not. Like a full, yeah. That's why I'm hoping. Even though. So, if you want to talk about the last 3 episodes, do they even bring back Ahsoka, Thrawn, and Ezra to our galaxy this season, or could it just be 3 episodes of her in the galaxy, in a different galaxy?
That's possible. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you can do so much stories there. Like, is she just gonna stay there with Ezra and Thrawn and that's why we don't hear about them in the sequels?
Yeah, that's possible. That's interesting. I didn't think about that, but yeah, I kind of thought that they would come back, but now that you mention that, that very well could be that she's there working against Thrawn, and that's how like the next season starts or whatever's next.
Yeah, because everyone's focused on like Thrawn coming back, but what if Thrawn doesn't come back? And what if they don't?
Or not yet? Yeah.
Or at all. Or until after the sequels end.
Yeah.
Maybe they do like a 15 years later, right? And they come back after.
Interesting.
How far into the future is the sequels from this?
Let me look up.
Does it say?
Let me look up. Let's see. So Ahsoka takes place about a decade after A New Hope. And then I think the sequels were like, was it 40 years after? Let me look up 40? Force Awakens.
I don't know. Do they have like dates and stuff?
So these things? 34 years. So Force Awakens is 34 ABY. And 10 to 15 years after Star Wars Rebels. So that would be about 10 BBY. So like 20 years before the sequels.
Okay, so there's a 20-year gap. Okay.
Yeah, around there.
Interesting. Okay.
So like Jason would be like 25 or something in the sequels. So I wonder where he's at.
Like, maybe Kylo killed him.
I sure hope not. Like they're setting him up and then he just dies in Kylo's raid. I don't know. But I took some notes and I want to just talk about like some things that I saw. So in the first Ahsoka and Anakin lightsaber fight, one thing that I liked was when she said, "I won't fight you." And Anakin was like, "I have heard that before," and then attacked her. To me, that's basically what Luke said in episode 6, and I think that's what he's calling back to. when Luke said he wouldn't fight him, which I thought was a really cool callback that like Ahsoka wouldn't pick up on, but we as an audience know, and is also evidence that that probably really is Anakin and not just some like Force lesson ghost thing.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because why would some Force thing that didn't experience that saying that? Yeah.
Yep. And then we had a Leia name drop, Senator Organa giving cover to Hera. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice, I saw this after, I didn't notice during the episode, that there was a picture of Kanan on the dashboard of the Ghost?
I did notice that, actually.
That's pretty cool.
Finally. And they finally name-dropped Kanan.
Yes, they finally name-dropped Kanan. I loved that. That was cool.
Finally.
I know, it took a while.
5 episodes.
And then Anakin did his classic lightsaber spin that he always does. That was cool. I loved seeing the like Ryloth fight, and we talked about the Siege of Mandalore in live action, and I liked how her outfit changed to match each of those too. That was pretty cool.
Even Anakin's outfit
and
in the early years.
Yeah, he went to like Clone Wars Attack of the Clones garb, and then went back to like episode 3 garb in the World Between Worlds. Seeing Rex, we already talked about. I loved Hu Yang's description of Anakin. So short and sweet, but like exactly right. That he's intense.
What do you say? Intense, right?
Yeah.
Intense. That was perfect. Intense.
I also liked how they did Anakin's voice, like when they go back into the World Between Worlds and he says, "You lack conviction," and you could hear the Darth Vader in it. Yeah,
it was like a mixture of
that was so cool.
Yeah, a lot of the visuals and the sound it was all really interesting.
Yeah, so well done. And then when Ahsoka steals his red lightsaber and is like putting it up to him, you can see Anakin's yellow eyes, and then Ahsoka leans in and her eyes turn yellow too, like with the symbolism that she's like she could go down that slippery slope. That was pretty that was cool.
I actually did not notice that the first time I watched it.
Yeah, I did.
I had to go back.
It's very subtle.
The second time I watched it, I noticed it. The first time, I missed it.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then I think one of the last things, when she tossed the lightsaber away and said, "I choose to live," I think that's also kind of mirroring Luke. And I think that's the lesson Anakin is trying to teach her, because he learned from Luke that like it's not all about fighting. You sometimes have to throw your weapon away and like take a different tact and like
literally.
Yeah. And so that lesson to her, where I think it was a twofold lesson. One, she does have a legacy, but it's not like the only thing. Like the legacy isn't just death and destruction. Like Baylan said, there's a lot more to that. There's, all of the rest other parts of Anakin and his masters and that she's carrying. And then also that she was forced to learn to be a soldier, but she doesn't have to like teach her own Padawan that way, because it's a different time, and go back to being more of a keeper of the peace Jedi. So
that's the biggest one I got out of it is you're not, Jedis weren't meant to be trained as soldiers originally.
Yep. That was a mistake. And she was still trying to do that with Sabine, which, I mean, it makes sense. That's what kept her alive in Order 66. Yeah. So, but it was a good lesson for her. And I thought that was a really cool episode to show that.
And like you said, afterwards, you could see some smiles and little jokes. So
back to the old
now
Ahsoka.
Now people can stop complaining about she's so stoic and just crosses her arms.
Yeah.
Like people.
Now we have Ahsoka the White.
Yeah, I know. I saw Ahsoka the White. Yeah, dude. I mean, it was awesome.
Yep. I think it was cool. It's interesting that my favorite episode hasn't had Baylan or Shin in it, who are two of my most interested to learn about characters. But that's just how good this episode was with the flashbacks and stuff.
I mean, throw in Clone Wars and throw in Anakin,
Yeah.
you know, I can see why.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait till this next episode. Let's hope it's not a
Hera only episode.
not a
I love Hera,
yeah,
but
like,
this is not the time.
yeah, I love Hera too. Let's just say more of a New Republic episode.
Yeah.
Because God, you're not wrong. They're awful.
Yeah, the New Republic's dumb.
They're so dumb.
I like Carson Teva being like, okay, I'll tell you, but you're not gonna believe me.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh man, the ending was even cool, right? Like I thought it felt very very cinematic.
Yeah, with the Purgle going through the fleet. It was so cinematic in the jump.
And even the way it ends, right? The music, and it felt like honestly, it almost felt like a season finale, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of did. That's true.
Like,
that would be like a cliffhanger to end on, yeah.
And we don't see the new galaxy till next season. I mean, thank God they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wonder what's going to happen.
I was kind of thinking she was going to use the World Between Worlds to get to the other galaxy, but I think I like this better. Like basically doing what Ezra did. She used actually 2 different force powers than we've seen her use. She used the Force Echo, which I think she did use earlier in the season, but that's like Cal Kestis's signature force move. Mm-hmm. So she used that, and then she used Ezra's connecting with the animals force power. So
yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good way for them to get there.
Well, let me ask you this: why haven't they thought of trying that before?
That's a good question. I don't know if where did they find the Purgle before? Because I don't know if maybe they didn't know where the Purgle were, or because they like travel around and stuff. So I don't know. And it's a big galaxy. So that would be my guess, but I don't know.
So this planet that they're on, do we know the name of the planet?
Cetos. No? Cetos.
So why was... So that's not a hidden planet, right? That's just where the witch set up her little base. Or that's where did the map lead to that spot, or did they just find that spot and know they had to put the map in that spot?
I think it showed that spot as the origination of the hyperspace lane to the other galaxy. So I think they knew how to get there from the map. Yeah.
Oh, and that would make sense why they didn't try the whales then.
Yeah. Because
if the whales, I mean, if that's kind of where they hang out a lot of time, you know, how are they going to know that?
Yeah, right.
They have to go there. Yeah.
Yep. And that hyperspace lane was originally a Purgle, like way for them to go to the other galaxy. It's like their travel. What's the migration pattern? So that's why they built that there to then map out the hyperspace lane or whatever with the Purgle. So that's why it's there, and that's why the Purgle are there.
Man, so I don't even know. Do we even get... Maybe we don't even get Thrawn and Ezra next episode. Maybe it's just Ahsoka kind of finding some weird stuff in the new galaxy.
That could be. I would be okay with that.
Interesting.
They might do that, and then at the end show Thrawn or something as a stinger or a cliffhanger for the next episode.
Man, I'm so curious. Like, what is it's just a new galaxy, right? It's our galaxy.
Anything could go. Yeah, they just land on Earth.
Could you imagine?
Of course, it's a long time ago, so it's just like dinosaurs and cavemen.
That's true, yeah. That is true. But, yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep, I'm excited.